we move on to do to react to Paul Pogba. He has came out and done a little bit of a media tour, talking to some major media outlets. He spoke with, I believe he did interviews with ESPN. I think he was on Sky Sports as well, if I'm not mistaken. ESPN, Sky Sports, ESPN, Sky Sports, and doing he has not done much public appearances since the initial doping ban was released, the 4-year ban. He did have some statements that he made, but he didn't really do any interviews. But now, with the doping ban being reduced from 4 years to 18 months earlier this month, when the Court of Arbitration for Sport accepted that his ingestion of the banned substance was not intentional, look, speaking of, by the way, the thing being non-intentional, obviously what you put in your body, you have to know what it is, you have to be able to control it, all that. But if they're able to come up with that, it was, what he did was not intentional. If there was enough evidence and they firmly believe that it was not intentional, then I still think, the fact that it took this long to come to that conclusion is issue number one. Number two, still think 18 months is a little bit too long. If it's really not intentional, because at the end of the day, I really doubt the fact that Paul Pogba would be stupid enough to ingest something, to take something that he knows could potentially literally end his career. Because let's be honest, he spoke about it a little throughout these interviews. That 4-year ban, that essentially would have ended his career. But yeah, at the end of the day, though, you have to control what you take. You have to control what you're eating, control any drug that you might be taking, and but it was able to get reduced. So he will be I think he's supposed to come a little bit, within March of 2025, something of that sort. He was suspended by Italy's National Anti-Doping Tribunal, NADO, in February. With the drug test, they found an elevated level of testosterone, which is a hormone that increases endurance in the system. Pogba, when he was speaking with, I believe this was when he was speaking with Sky Sports, he said, "This is not me. I am not a cheater. I'm someone that loves my sport. I love the game, and I would never ever cheat. I like to win fairly. I'm a bad loser, but I'm not a cheater. I take some responsibility because I took the supplement. I didn't triple check. Let's say it like that. Even if it comes from a professional, if I have to be punished, I'm fine with it. But it should never be 4 years. And honestly, if it's accidental, in my opinion, it should never be 18 months. If it's accidental, if it's something that was prescribed by a professional, at the end of the day, he's not a doctor. He's getting something prescribed by a professional. He's not gonna read every single little drug to make sure, there might not be something wrong. Again, even when he says I didn't triple check, he's insinuating that this is something that he's careful over. If it's something that he's is careful over not taking something, something illegal in the footballing world. But now Pogba, but I'm just happy that Pogba, because this is obviously, this is a very, very, very difficult thing to go through mentally, being taken away from what you do, how you feed your family, how he was a brilliant, or he still might be. We don't know yet. We haven't seen him play for a long time, but he is a brilliant footballer and one of the best midfielders in the world. That's had a little bit of issues in here keeping that consistent level within the club form. But every time he puts on that jersey for the national team, he's a brilliant world-class player because he's a world-class talent. But and then when you're in the process of that, and first there was a little few injuries here and there when he returned to Juventus, and then you get this ban for 4 years, not knowing. You're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna be back playing football till I'm 34 to 35 years old. you know will I, he said, will clubs even want me? I'm thinking this, I'm trying to count down, I'm thinking age, all that. It's just a deep mental funk you can go through, and when you're in that period, and it's something that would have essentially ended his career. But then, with the court of arbitration, they've came down and cracked it down to 18 months, which is still a very, very long time, and it's still a difficult comeback to make, because it's looking likely that he's probably not going to be a Juventus player whenever he makes the return. He's currently right now as a Juventus player, but it seems like Pogba wants to stay. He apparently, I'm seeing reports that, or not. I'm seeing reports that he says that he'd be willing to give up money to play at Juventus. Juventus. There was a high important journalist. I said a little bit of his name. I think you know who I'm talking about. Reported that Pogba and Juventus, they're trying to agree to terminate the contract. But the 31-year-old, he's weighing all his options before making any decisions. When he was asked where Pogba wants to play, he said, for sure Juventus. I want to start training with my teammates, and I'm willing to take a salary cut to stay at Juventus. I feel like if Pogba could really get, if he could get back to what he was, before this ban, he could be a valuable asset for Juventus. But Juventus, they seem like they're going in a little bit of a new direction now, being managed with by Thiago Motta, doing a little bit of an overhaul. Maybe they want to, maybe they're just saying, okay, this Pogba thing, this experience is over. Let's just move on from this experience. Let's get all the money out, because we need to start, building something for the future, and they just want to do a little bit of a recycle. But I do think Pogba could give Juventus, that world class player that they don't have right now. Juventus lack those, lack that real star quality in the team. I think Paul Pogba, he at the quality will always be there. The talent will always be there. It's just, can he get the fitness levels back? Can he get the consistency back? But the technique doesn't go away. His ability to play in tight spaces, his ability to hit any, to make any pass in the pitch, long range, medium range, short range, left foot, right foot, play a ball, diagonal ball, line breaking ball, that quality will not go away. His flexibility to play in multiple positions will not go away. It's just the consistency. Will he be that consistent player that he was before? That's the big thing to that, and if I'm Juventus at the end of the day, before making any decision, I'd like to, because they don't get to see him at training during this period. They don't really get an opportunity to see him at training. If I'm Juventus, I'm trying to hold off. I'm giving him, the rest of this season. Let him come back in March. Let's get to see him in training, and then before you make any decision, get a chance to see him, because Juventus have not seen him play since 2022. Because once you get suspended for this, you're not allowed to go to the facility and train with the team. You're isolated. You're training alone, which is also another, when I said this is something that's a mentally tough thing for Pogba to go with. Having to train alone, be away from his teammates, being isolated, not having that coaching staff, not having the support of your teammates to help you going through this difficult time. It's a thing that requires a lot of mental toughness. And, if he's able to battle off out of this, I salute him, because that's a very, very difficult journey that he's been on. And we'll see. Look, I hope that Pogba, can get back to playing football, because I miss him, and he has some quality. He's a really, really good player, and a lot of people have forgotten that because we just haven't seen him play in a really, really long time.